And I knew that it was important for me to tell my children what I was going through, what we were going to face, because I didn't want them to find out that information from someone else or overhear a conversation. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're watching this video, I am honored to share that today's video, this video that you're currently watching, is going to come from the perspectives of my children. I wanted to do a interview with them, so to speak, and I wanted to find out their perspective from each one of them individually, what it was like finding out that their mom had been diagnosed with breast cancer. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I think that it's important for them, for children, to share just as much as I've shared, because I was never on this journey by myself. As you know, anyone that's dealing with a breast cancer diagnosis, it doesn't just affect them individually. It affects the whole family unit. Our world at the time, 2 years ago, was going to change drastically. And I knew that it was important for me to tell my children what I was going through, what we were going to face, because I didn't want them to find out that information from someone else or overhear a conversation, and then have, just start coming up with answers on their own, or worry and doubt and anxiety and everything else that could potentially come along with finding out hard information and not receiving it from the source. I wanted to be the person that told them, and I wanted to reassure them. So it was important for me to tell them. However, I haven't had a chance really to sit down since then, and just have them reflect on how that affected them, how the journey affected them, how they process things, and just what it was like for them. So again, I'm very honored to be able to share this with you. It is our hope that, other children who may see this, other families who may watch this, who may be going through the same thing, that it encourages them, that it gives them, something, they're able to take away something from it to help them along their way. And so again, I am extremely honored to be able to share the perspectives of each one of my children individually, even Matea, what it was like for them being on this journey. One said, it was interesting, one said it just became a part of their life. And so I think it's important for us to do this, because families go through this every day, and so no one is alone on the journey. And so, yeah, we wanted to share this. And so thank you for tuning in, and check it out. Thanks. Sitting down with my oldest. Would you like to introduce yourself to our viewers?
Hey y'all, I'm Malachi Ritter, the oldest of the 4 that we have here. And yeah.
And how old are you now?
I'm 16 now, turning 17 soon. So
okay, and so that means you were 14 when this first started, because we are officially 2 years to the month from the time of the diagnosis.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And so thinking back to around this time 2 years ago, can you share with the viewers what it was like from your perspective finding out that your mom had breast cancer?
Thinking back, before we were even told what happened, I had a feeling that something was wrong, because even as a kid, when your parents are hiding something from you or a little bit shaky about something, you can tell just based off the energy that they give, how they answer questions. So it was, when I was told that my mom had cancer, it was a very shaky and scary feeling for me, because I knew that cancer meant death for a lot of people, and thinking about losing my mom at 14 wasn't a great feeling at all. So now that she's beat it, I'm glad that she's still here. So we're still going, still moving along. So
Awesome. So it sounds like, well, let me say this. So what do you remember specifically about the day that I told you?
the day, it was a typical day. Wake up, go to school, do work, come home, do work. But then I remember you guys kind of like brought us all together in a like family setting. And I knew something was going to be said. I just didn't know what, because you guys had talked about like how you were going to tell us, and like almost like you planned how to tell us what was going on.
Why you said it?
Just because the way that you guys had looked at each other, because I'm
Okay.
like very observant in how you guys look and
Okay.
your mannerisms and how you carry yourself.
Interesting. Okay. And so that was going to be my next question, but you already asked it. I was going to say, did you ever have any feelings like something was wrong? And you pretty much said that twice, like you kind of knew something was up.
Yeah.
And I knew, like with him saying that he was very observant, like he's not like fudging at all on it. Like he was picking up on things like well into the process before I even knew what was going on, or before I was even like at a point where I felt like I could share. Because I remember, one of the things I remember specifically before I sat them down was me picking him up from school one day and him asking, was I good? Like he was like, Mom, you good? And I'm like, yeah. Like, what you mean? Why you ask me that? And your response was, you were like, because you have a lot of doctor's appointments and you don't normally go to the doctor that much.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, I noticed that you were leaving the house, going some places that would be like, oh, she's going to a doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
And that's not normal at all. And I kind of like pick up on trends and everything. And I knew that she wasn't feeling as well. She would say, I don't know, I don't feel too good. And that's not normal for somebody that's usually cheerful and happy all the time.
Right. So yeah, you definitely was. I was like, oh my goodness, like he really like pays attention to everything. And maybe not every child does that, but just, if I could share anything like to anyone that's going through something like this and leaning more on the side of, I don't want to tell the kids what's going on. I'll tell you that I guess most kids, like, they know something's up. Whether they know exactly what it is, they know something's up with you. It's hard to hide from our children. So can't really tell anybody how to handle sharing and things like that, but I will say it's harder than you think trying to hide that information.
Yeah,
so
we kind of know you
just
guys
consider
just
it.
as well you know us.
Yeah, just consider it. So what did you understand at that time about cancer?
I understood that there was cures out there for certain type of cancer. I knew that it was possible to beat breast cancer because I've seen it before. Many of our family members have beaten breast cancer, so I knew it wasn't too bad of a situation, even though it is a bad thing to go through. So I still had a lot of hope and faith and prayer that we were gonna get through this and I wasn't gonna lose my mom early.
Good. That's awesome to hear. And I think you shared a little bit early in terms of your fear. What was your biggest fear at that time?
Biggest fear was losing my mom.
Yeah. And so now that you've witnessed everything that I've gone through, that we've gone through, honestly, the journey from chemo to losing my hair, surgery, all of that, like, what are some of your feelings now that it's been, 2 years?
It's definitely been a journey. You've definitely changed a little bit. But I don't think it was for the worse. I feel like we've moved along and things have become more natural, or I've become more accustomed to how things are now.
Okay.
So it's not bad at all.
Okay. And when you say change, meaning physical or?
I feel like it's been a physical, emotional, and religious transformation for you, because that did bring you closer to God, and He definitely had His hand on you in this whole way through this. So
Amen. What are some ways that you coped with going through a journey such as a parent diagnosed with cancer, and Like, what are some ways you dealt with your emotions during that time?
I feel like I definitely stayed more to myself. I'm more of a inside, private type of guy, but I do know how to converse with other people. So I wouldn't say I'm too introverted, but with dealing with my feelings and emotions, I feel like I was more into myself, definitely was on the game more, playing the game, reading more. So yeah, just staying more to myself and closed up, just managing everything.
Do you think that helped?
I feel like it did help.
Okay.
It helps naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So when I do just stay to myself, I like to stay to myself and have my own space and just live life that way.
Okay. That's where your comfort, your security, your safety
it's definitely
is.
my comfort and security.
Okay. So most times kids can feel helpless when a parent, a family member, a loved one is going through a cancer diagnosis. They don't really quite know where they fit in that puzzle. And so how can someone your age maybe help that loved one in dealing with a cancer diagnosis?
I definitely didn't know what to do. I still wouldn't say that I 100%, the type of guy to go to ask this what to do. But I feel like just like you would if they're sick normally, just be there. If they need you to do something, be willing and able to do something. Not like you wouldn't be, because that is your loved one, so you would be. But just being there, being that rock in the hard place for them, that anchor, it's definitely helpful to get through any type of trial and tribulation. So just stick to that, and then prayer is very strong, so always do that.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, lastly, you might have more to share, but I feel like you kind of already answered this. But what advice can you share with someone your age who may be learning that their mom, parent, loved one has been diagnosed with cancer? Like, this is their first time learning it, and so what advice can you share with them?
Definitely don't try to stress too much, because being stressed is not good. It's not good for your mental health either. So it's good to be healthy for you, and not only just you, but your family around you as well, because everybody feeds off energy, whether you know it or not. And also stay and find your comfort zone, because that'll help you deal with your emotions and what you're dealing with. And of course, prayer. That's gonna be my heavy thing on this, because it works.
Heavy on the prayer. Awesome. Anything else you'd like to share?
No, I feel like I've said a lot.
Yeah, this was great. Thank you so much. He is very busy. I mean, I know he's a teenager and most teenagers are busy, but yeah, he has a very busy schedule. So it's an honor to be able to have him be able to sit down and take some time to share with, others around the world, whoever may view this one day, and, be able to take something from it to help them. So thank you for doing it.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Mattea.
And how old are you?
2.
And do you remember when Mommy had breast cancer?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you remember?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. Yeah, you were very small when it happened.
Yeah.
You were only...
A really sharp eyes and a really baby.
Yep, you were a baby.
I didn't wear my dress and pink eyes. My favorite eyes and not light green. But that green is on his shirt.
Okay, you get green on his shirt. Okay, and so do you remember when Mommy had to... Mattea, do you remember when Mommy had to stop breastfeeding you?
Yeah.
Were you sad?
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing if you can remember it, because you were only, what, like 9 months old?
Mommy,
Yeah.
dressed and angry as eyes.
Do you remember when Mommy lost her hair? When Mommy had long hair and then she had no hair? You remember? Were you sad? Be careful. Were you scared of mommy?
Yeah.
You were?
Yeah.
Oh, why were you scared?
I stare at you. I can't leave.
Because you can't leave?
Yeah. I can't be red.
You can't be what?
I get eyes and I be sad.
Mm-hmm.
Eyes all the time. And the eyes.
And what do you want to share about cancer and somebody's mommy going through cancer?
Me.
Mm-hmm.
You.
Me and you. That's how it was.
Matthias.
Yep, and Matthias.
Bro.
And Bro.
Daddy.
And Daddy.
Mama.
And Mike.
And Mimi.
Yes, and Mimi too.
And Auntie.
And Auntie, yes. What else do you remember?
This?
Deuce?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think Deuce was a part of it yet, but Bryce was.
Bryce.
And
Do still stay. Do still stay in the office.
Tell the viewers your name and your current age.
My name's Matthias and I'm 11.
And so that means at the time of my diagnosis, you would have been
9.
Okay, so 9. All right, so thinking back around this time 2 years ago, because it's officially been 2 years since like when I got my diagnosis. Can you share with the viewers what it was like from your perspective, finding out that your mommy had breast cancer?
My name Taya. I thought I was princess. I thought I would die too.
Good job, Miss
So I am being joined by the youngest of the boys, my baby boy.
Matthias.
All right, and how old are you?
11.
All right, and so that means at the time of diagnosis, you were
9.
okay. All right. So thinking back to around this time 2 years ago, because it's officially been 2 years as of this month since the whole cancer journey began. And so can you share with the viewers what it was like from your perspective finding out that your mommy had breast cancer?
What it was like really hard because you had to think that maybe she's not gonna be okay, and it really made me really sad that I had to think about that my mom might not be with me anymore.
Okay. And so what do you remember specifically about that day you learned? Is it anything that stands out from that day or from that moment when we shared the news with you guys?
You weren't I don't remember you being there at the time, at that moment. I remember you coming to the counter and telling us.
Okay. So did you feel like you knew something was wrong before I shared the news?
Kinda a little bit. It was really cause sometimes you're doing something and you won't come there for a little bit.
Okay.
And then you'll come, but it was Dad was looking weird too. He was he looked tense. He didn't look fine.
Interesting. So you didn't necessarily feel like something was wrong, but you noticed different things about us. Interesting.
It was just a little bit, but it felt kind of normal because the baby, you had to go help with her, so
right.
It would be gone for a little bit.
Okay. And so I remember thinking back to that day. I don't remember coming in there, I guess, to start the conversation. I don't remember what led up to it. I just remember being like, you guys were all sitting down at the island. I think y'all were eating, or maybe we were about to eat.
Yeah,
or
we're
something
about
like
to
that.
eat.
And I was just kind of standing across, and then Dad was there too. And it was like, okay, I need to share what's been going on. And I remember like your brothers were all like, they were very like strong in that moment. Like I remember Micah being very like literal, like when I shared cancer and all of that, like it was like he immediately went to like maybe a textbook analytical frame of mind.
Yeah, like really thought about it.
Yeah, like, okay, cancer is this and this means that, and it means you have to start chemotherapy, and chemo may make your hair fall out. Like he was like really going through, you know, kind of like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And then Kai was just kind of like, I guess more so like chill, which is kind of his natural personality, and didn't really seem like he was worried. But then I remember looking at you, and I remember you looking at them, and it was like you were studying, I guess, their reactions and how they were responding to it. And it was like almost like I felt like you were putting on like this act of, well, I have to keep it together too. Everybody else is together. Like everybody good. Like, well, let me make sure I'm good too. But like me knowing you, it was like I immediately saw through it, and I was like, "You all right?" And it was like, I guess as soon as I asked you that, you were looking like, "Nah, I ain't all right."
I wasn't that.
Yeah. And so I remember taking you back to the room because again, I could tell that it was a lot for you to process. And in that moment, you know, as I'm sure you remember, it was very emotional for you.
I started crying.
Yeah. What do you remember in that moment?
I remember like hugging you. I was like thinking like, I don't want her to go. I love her so much. I don't want her to go. I don't want her to leave me.
Yeah.
So that's when like the tears came and stuff.
Yeah, and I remember you sharing you didn't want to lose your mommy like I lost my mommy. Yeah. And I remember like that was very, very hard for me to hear in that moment because like I understood exactly like where that fear was coming from, that I was sensing that you had, and it was like I had no idea of, you know, how to really, like as parents, we don't want our kids to be afraid or, you know, and it was like in that moment, I don't really know how to like, you know, protect you or shield you from that feeling because that feeling is valid. And so I don't even remember much of what I said other than like, we just got to trust God. Like that's all I knew to say in that moment. Like we got to lean on God and we got to trust and we got to believe.
We got to pray a lot.
Yeah, that was like, God, that's all I know to do. Like, that's all I knew to do. And so, I don't know, you know, do you remember much about what I said?
I remember you saying that we have to pray. We have to keep praying. And like you said, believe in God and know what He can do for us.
Yeah.
And like, it will be okay. And like,
yeah. And so, what did you understand at that time about cancer?
Like I said, I was like scared that you would be gone. So I have already seen, like, when you like, I've seen multiple videos of kids and having cancer and their parents having cancer and them fighting through it and like in hospitals on deathbeds and stuff. So when I heard that, I immediately, like, my mind went straight to that. And I was like thinking, like imagining, what if you were there in that bed?
Yeah, and that's hard. And so, like, the next question was, did you have any fears? So, what would you say your greatest fear was in that moment?
Seeing you like weak and in the hospital bed, not being able to like do much and do stuff with us.
Yeah. Whew, okay, so now that you've witnessed, you know, everything along that journey from chemo to me losing my hair, surgery, everything that came with it. What are your feelings now?
I'm happy now that you're still with us and that we can still we can still help and try and help. We can still help other people by like sharing these videos and like trying to show them what it was like and how to like help them. So I'm just happy that we're able to do this.
Awesome. What are some ways that you coped with what I was going through and witnessing everything that I was going through and dealing with your emotions?
I mostly tried to stay cheerful and to like try and, cause like when I would help you and like you would like smile and be like, thank you, it made me like feel warm and like not think about it anymore. And then I was able to like do all the stuff that I love to do and just forget about what's happening and what's going on, and just like I was able to believe that you were going to be okay.
Okay. And so oftentimes kids may feel helpless when a loved one, a family member is battling a cancer diagnosis. And so how can someone your age maybe help their mommy or their family member, that loved one, during a time when they're dealing with cancer?
Like try and like be with them a lot and try to encourage them and be cheerful around them so they don't like feel like sad. Like don't go off of your energy. You want them to go off a happy energy and like be very happy and cheerful and like do things with you. So like maybe like take that loved one out to somewhere that they really love, some place that they really like, so that you can be able to like help them feed off of your happy positive energy, and so they can get that positivity and start believing and thinking that, oh, I'm gonna be okay.
Wow, that's good, guys. Good. And so lastly, I have, what advice? I mean, you've already shared some really good advice. And so, what, if there's any other advice, what advice can you share with someone your age who may be learning that their mom or loved one, someone they care about, has just been diagnosed with cancer? What advice would you give them?
Maybe try to not think about it as much and like don't try and like keep it inside and like go distance yourself from anyone. Make sure like you're around a group of people that you can trust and that can help you with that. And like I've had a lot of help from like friends and family, so like try and have a group to support you and help you through that time, and so that you can help your loved one too as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing. Matthias I feel like he's the child that's a lot in tuned to emotions and feelings and what's going on. And so you were able to share a lot of great advice. And so I appreciate that. And it is my hope that anyone that sees this at, whatever point that they're able to take what you were able to share, and, hopefully that gives them some strength to get through what they're going through. Awesome. Thank you so much. So I am here with my middle son. You want to introduce yourself to the viewers?
I'm Micah Ritter.
Micah Ritter. And how old are you now?
13.
Okay. And so that means you were 11 when this all started, because it's officially been 2 years since the journey initially started. 2 years to this month. We are recording it. This is currently March 26, 2024. And so this all began March of 2022. Okay? So I have a few questions for you, Micah. And I'm going to ask that you kind of think back and put your mind in a space, 2 years ago for the most part, and, kind of offer whatever you like to share based off of, what I ask you. Okay? All right. So thinking back to around this time 2 years ago, can you share with the viewers what it was like from your perspective of finding out that your mommy had breast cancer?
I didn't really know how to feel.
Okay.
Kinda. I just, I don't know. I just didn't I don't know how to explain it.
You were just kind of, was it more so shock or?
I think it might have been shock.
Okay, fair enough. And so what do you remember about that day, when I shared the news? Anything stands out from that moment when I shared it with you guys?
I don't know. I can't really remember.
Okay. So I remember, well, let me ask you this. Do you remember having any feelings when I did come out to say that I needed to speak with you guys? Did you have any feelings that something was wrong?
Yeah.
Okay. What made you feel that way?
I don't know. It was just you don't usually do that, unless it was something important.
Okay. So you knew something was up, but not necessarily what. Okay. And so what I remember once I shared the news with you guys, because I have memory of, everyone's reaction at the time. And so I remember your reaction specifically because I felt like you were more literal. Like when I said, it was cancer, it was breast cancer. And I think I even went in to try to explain what it was. And you already knew what cancer was. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you remember what you said?
No, not really.
Okay. What do you remember about cancer?
You lose your hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember.
Okay. So yeah, I remember, like I said, just you being, like I said, very, you were very textbook. You knew what cancer was, mutation in cells, and that's kind of your way of kind of navigating through, I guess, what I said. You were taking my words, and it was you went very textbook in terms of what that meant and what it meant next. So I felt I remember in that moment, wow, how does he even know that? But also just being in a state of, okay, I guess, he's handling it well because he kind of knows, I guess, what it is. And because of that, it's you didn't really have fear as much. But I don't know. That's how I interpreted it. And so again, what did you understand about cancer at the age of 11?
I knew it was when your cells attacked your own body from the inside, and it was it kind of becomes its own organism and tries to feed off of you and steals your nutrients and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And so after hearing all of that and knowing what you knew at the time, did you have any fear?
No, not really.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why is that, you think?
I don't know. I just kind of knew that it was kind of like treatable.
Okay. And this is my first time ever asking you that. So I never knew that you didn't have any fear. That's kind of what I was getting from you, but hearing you say it is, wow, okay. So you felt really confident in advancements in medication and just, yeah, what was next. Those of you watching this, like we always say that Micah is like our scientist or future scientist. He's definitely, he favors the science fields of education more, I'd say, than any other subject. So me sharing that news with him, and again, like how he was like speaking about it at 11, it was like not necessarily surprising because like that's Micah for us. Micah is like the science guy. So yeah, there's, I just love how he processes things from that science, so to speak, mindset. So it's interesting hearing you say that you didn't have any fear because you knew that it was treatable. That's good, Micah. Now that you've witnessed everything that I've gone through, like in terms of chemo, losing my hair, surgery to remove the cancer, what are your feelings now towards the diagnosis and that journey?
I think it's just like become a part of like this house. So like I'm like, you just look normal to me. You don't look different.
Yeah.
Really.
Even when I was going through everything, I still look like your mom. Okay. Interesting. And so, sorry, I was just listening how I never knew you felt that way. Okay. Because I think as parents, we get nervous. Like I remember even when I shaved my head and like being nervous about how the boys would like receive how I looked. And you guys were like, when I had that wig on, y'all were like, like I like how you look without the wig. So this is really cool. Okay, so a few more questions. So what are some ways that you coped with witnessing all the changes I was going through and, the treatment and everything? And like, how did you deal with your emotions?
How I dealt with it? Probably like I just watched kind of like more science videos and like tried to learn like a lot more
about cancer, about breast cancer. Okay, so what did you learn?
Kind of what I know now.
Okay. Interesting. Let me start by saying this. So sometimes kids may feel helpless when a loved one, a mommy, a parent, daddy, whomever it may be, when someone is going through a cancer diagnosis, sometimes children feel helpless in that moment. How can someone your age maybe help their mommy, their family member, their loved one through a journey like that?
I say just like support them. Yeah.
Okay. How so?
Like I don't really know how to explain it. It's just like it kind of just comes naturally.
Okay.
I think for me, like I don't really know how to explain it. I guess it kind of be like telling them that like it doesn't matter really, and it doesn't really change them.
That's awesome. And so, I guess in closing, what advice can you share with someone your age who may be learning or hearing for the first time that their loved one, their mommy, their daddy, or, someone they really care about has cancer, what is some advice you can share with them?
Try to help them out.
Okay.
Like, if they need something, go get it. Kind of stuff. Help them out a lot, so they don't have to do like as much.
Okay. Awesome. Anything else you'd like to share?
No, not really.
Okay. But I appreciate your time, Micah. Thank you so much. Micah is not really a man of many words. So the fact that we have him on camera right now sharing is truly an honor. So I thank you for, being willing to do this and being willing to go back and reflect during that stage. And this has been good for me to just, hear more about what you were feeling in that moment, and, your courage and your just your knowledge. It definitely speaks volume to, who you are right now as a person and the man that you're going to be. So thank you, sweetie. I love you.
Love you too.
So I wanted to bring you all together because, as we know, as a family, we know that cancer affects the whole family. It's not just the individual that has been diagnosed with it that's going through it. It's something that affects the whole unit. And so wanted you guys to share. You guys did really well with sharing individually your perspectives and, how you felt during that time. I wanted to also extend an opportunity for you to share with, others who may be viewing this in terms of how can extended family and friends support children who are dealing with a parent or a loved one that has been diagnosed with cancer.
So, the way our extended family and friends helped us in this time was they helped bring out food for us to have, because that's one less thing that you have to worry about when dealing with, your doctors and your hospital visits to get tests done, because how, big of a deal cancer is. So that was our greatest help during that time, because, boys, we like to eat. So that's just one less thing Mom had to worry about with having, us in her mind, as well as cancer.
Yeah, also extended family also helped because they were like a support group to us, and it really like helped us cope with the cancer and help us not do it.
In what ways?
They really talked to us a lot about it.
Okay.
And told us that we just have to keep praying, keep helping you, so that you're able to battle cancer.
Okay. Anything else?
No, it was good.
Okay. And so there was a lot going on during that time. A lot. Like, we had just moved into this house. Our schedule was insane with sports and activities. Then threw on all my doctor's appointments. So it was a lot of changes. It was people in and out. And so, just throughout that journey, do you feel like you guys got what you needed? Did you feel supported? And did you feel like you got what you needed during that time?
Yeah, I think we got what we needed. And we definitely felt supported.
Okay.
Yeah, we were definitely supported. I mean, with the schedule of being an athlete and school and stuff, having that support group with you, being able to take you to all your events, you have to cancer tests, get back there and back home safely. Great help. Just support wise, like I said before, food, meals, care about that. I care about school, rides.
Okay. All right. And so, what was the biggest like takeaway for you guys? Like now that we're on the other side of, the journey, things have calmed down. There are no more treatments, and the host of appointments and all of that have, kind of drastically decreased. What has been like your biggest takeaway from the journey? Yeah. Yep. What have you all learned?
That it's good to stick together as a family and to be able to support each other through whatever hard times we're all going through. And I think that I learned a lot of it because I really had to, we all really had to come together to really help each other out and to help support each other so we can all cope with what was happening and to be able to really know that we can all help each other.
Okay. So would you say that you guys, the three of you, relied on each other a lot throughout? Like, were there moments where like you guys discussed it like among yourselves, or anything that you guys did to like just help support each other that we may not be aware of?
I'll answer first. Biggest takeaway was God is great, always there, always
All the time.
Because He will do the most. To answer that second question, there has been times when we do it together, like especially me being the oldest, talking to my first. We'll be okay. Nothing to worry about. So just make sure that still handle our own business, doing well in school, showing out in sports. So the biggest thing I would say.
Okay, that's awesome because you guys have, the unique gift of, having each other. So someone else who may be an only child, or, you know what I'm saying? Like someone who may not have what you have. Any advice for them to where they don't feel so alone?
And also make sure to stay with your family.
Okay. All right, guys. In closing, what else, if anything, would you like to share if you haven't shared everything already? Anything else?
There's anywhere else to share, but yes, I really God is good.
All the time.
Always be there. Always make sure it's there.
Amen.
Puzzle pieces.
All right. All right. All right. Thanks, guys.